Hey cool cats, Roz and Neko here. How many of you have ever seen the circus? Luckies. I sadly haven't been, and I've always wondered what would it be like, and if it's not like Radiant Tale, I don't even want to go. Curl up kitties, because today we're going over Radiant Tale. As usual, we'll be looking over the game's setting, common route, characters, gameplay, story, game bonuses, and summing it up with final thoughts. The setting takes place in a world called Escholidia. It's a world filled with human and magical creatures called Fae, which are furry creatures that use magic and can take human form. Fairies, and there are some people that can control magic through contract with fairies, and so much more. There's definitely a lot of world building that went into this that I can't even go through it all. But overall, there are 5 major cities with some forests or towns in between. There's one person in charge of each city, but there is one king that rules over everything. In each city, there's also a story based on a major fairy and an item that's left behind. But that's all I'll say for now. The story centers around Ophelia, who works in a restaurant with her aunt Spira and the Fae, Rady. She lost her parents at a young age, and her memories due to the traumatic event, and became mute. Once she was able to move on, she helped her aunt in the restaurant and wanted her days to stay that way, while also wanting to secretly travel out, but held back due to her traumatic past. Then, a dragon falls on her. That dragon's name is Vilio. He's one of the people performing in circus, and he's looking for lodging for the night. Ophelia offers her aunt's restaurant, which is also a lodging place, and he's ecstatic. Then he goes around looking for his circus mates to tell them that he found lodging arrangements for the night, and this is also our chance to meet the other characters, and to find the reason why they're even performing in the first place. So we get a chance to talk to Rady, Vilio, Ion, Paschilia, Sephora, and we get a chance to look around our little town. 10 years ago, there was a big battle against fiends. Fiends are creatures born from negative feelings from humans. They take form and attack people. The prince was fighting them, and in order to defeat them, he sealed his heart, trapping his emotions, mind, and body for the past 10 years, and he was trapped, not able to age, feel, or do anything. To heal him, they're hoping to make flora flowers bloom and feed them to him. They only bloom when a lot of people feel joy all at once. With Circus performing these wonderful flowers and bringing joy to others all over, they may be able to accomplish just that. The day of the show comes, and Ophelia goes to check it out. Vilio sees her, gets excited, and almost burns her and the tent down. The whole show was a complete mess. No one at the show actually knows how to perform together. They all have talent, yes, just not together. So, our heroine here starts coming up with ideas of what they could do to improve their show. Gina recognizes her talent immediately and basically says, "Girl, sign here." She hesitates, but her aunt Spira pushes her, and her trusted partner Faye, Rady, supports her. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and talk about the characters. I always love my favorite long-haired boys, Paschalia. He's very shy and very airheaded, but super sweet. He made a contract with a fairy, so he has the ability to see them and also control water magic. But also he's not very aware of what he does or like the kind of romance going on, but you cannot deny that he's very beautiful. We also have Ion. I am as a bodyguard working around for Circus. I would say he's kind of hard-headed, even more than Paschalia in regards to being like a little bit of an airhead. He does very sweet things without even realizing that he's doing them. Like, for example, here, like catching flowers, I'm not going to spoil it, but that was like the sweetest thing, but not realizing exactly what he's doing. He almost won me over. But I think Paschalia did a much better job in the story, but he was definitely a runner-up for my second favorite. Sephora's an information broker. I would call him the Tsundere, and he was very annoying, but I'm not gonna lie, this man is a very hot clown. And I don't say that lightly, and he is very smart with what he does. And in the game, I'm not a big fan, but with everything that goes on and happens to him, he gained my trust pretty quickly. Rady is a fae, so a magical creature that can go from a magical creature to going into human form, and he's been with us for most of our life. And really, he just kind of takes care of us and looks out for us. He's supposed to be apparently the very handsomest of the bunch. I don't see it. I think it's because of how sharp he looks, like the chin and everything, and the muscles, I guess. But his fluffy form is adorable, and the way he acts when he's in that form, I love it because he's very mischievous and funny, but otherwise he is okay. And I do love kind of like I'd say an older brother aspect. And Vilio is like the Genki character, so like the brightest, happiest character, but has like the saddest backstory, usually. I feel like he didn't really have that, but I can see where they were going with it. But otherwise, I feel like he was like the greatest friend there. And of course, they give us side characters that we can't have. Like, why? Gina is flipping beautiful. Gina was hilarious in this game. Why would you taunt us? Why? Like, why? Honestly, I just love Gina so much, and I don't know any way to describe him besides, I mean, just look at him. It's just kind of really self-descriptive, really likes to spoil himself, doesn't like to lift a finger, but honestly, he's really a smart butt. He will be there to step up for his friends, protect them. He's actually an assistant to the king, so he really does know how to wrap everyone around his finger or really mouth off if he needs to. Honestly, I really do not. I don't have the best words for him. I really just recommend playing the game to really find out everything this man can do. Not only is he beautiful, but he can put you in your place and be there for his friends. But the one I am the most mad about is Leon. Like, why? The man is flipping gorgeous. I love long hair. I love purple. I love black. And this man has it all. I did put on my Twitter that he reminded me of Empei Barbicane from Code Realize, because they kind of did the same thing of where they flirted with the heroine a lot, and I couldn't pinpoint what the difference was for me. He looked better than Empei Barbicane. Some people pointed out that he was serious when he needed to be and was more helpful and came in the clutch, while Empei was kind of made more silly. But change my mind down in the comments. What's the difference between Leon and Empei Barbicane? What do you think? But overall, I love this man more than anything. But I'm mad he was not an option. I was so upset. So the gameplay was pretty decent. You had up to about 5 chapters in the common route, 4 chapters after that, which was okay. And the chapters were short, which made it easier to get through, which was actually nice compared to all these other games that are so long. Except for Vilios. Vilios had his own complete 10 chapters by himself. And then the answers for each one were pretty obvious, so it made it less difficult, which again is a really nice break compared to these other games where the answers are just not as obvious. And each chapter focuses on a town, a spirit, an item, and an issue to resolve that will be the theme for the circus performance to retell, and it all just seals it up together. So by the time you get to Vilio's story, it's all pretty much wrapped up. And if you're anyone like me who has to put a game down after a while then come back to it, it's a nice wrap up, so then you don't have to like restart at the beginning or anything. I feel like all the spirits here are looking at me with disappointment that I just said that. Now this is something that I am adding to my reviews. I want to be a bit more in depth with it and be a bit more picky. But to look at the story overall in each game and to look at each character's stories, the story overall was amazing. I started off with Paschella because, I mean, come on, long hair and a nice boy, my faves. After that, I went down the recommended route from there. With each character, a bit more is revealed until you get to Vilio's route. And then by the time you get to Vilio's route, it's pretty much wrapped up nicely. This game also doesn't really have a bad or sad ending, maybe 1 or 2, but it has a bit of hope for each of them at the end, which I'll talk about in my Kitty Corner podcast, which, by the way, if you subscribe now, you won't miss out on. So let's do a quick recap for each character's story. Paschella is a 4 out of 5. It's really typical and really kind of frustrating at the end because he gets pretty stubborn, but honestly for me, he's really worth it. And his normal ending, honestly, is just as good for me, to be honest. Ion is a 4 out of 5 for me. The ending was decent, a little unexpected, but mostly because of the friendship ending at the end. Sephora, I give a complete 0 out of 5, because no. Did you ever read a book that was really good and the ending just ruined it? Yeah? No? Well, this was that. It was okay. It was pretty decent. And then the ending just, no. Absolutely not. Nope. Unacceptable. Rady, I give a 3 out of 5. It was kind of meh. It was an interesting perspective, but he wasn't really my favorite anyway, to be honest. Vilio, I give a 3 out of 5. Near the end, there was a lot of PDA. I'm not really a PDA kind of gal, and the ending was just kind of normal for me. As you can see here, the game just has kind of its basics. You start it, you load what you have, you can jump chapters, the extras, manual chapters. But then once you go to the extras, it's not much, nothing really changes. I mean, it's a cute design, I guess. Gallery, which will have all the photos. There's 2 different sections for some reason where you'll have CGs that have no category. I don't know why they just don't put it all into one, but they don't. And then they have a lot of CGs for chibis, which I do really like. This is my first game where they actually have a lot of chibis, and I love me some chibis. And they're just really super cute. But otherwise, yeah, you've got your movies, you got your dictionary, you got your music, and then that's just really it. Overall, I love this game. The world building was phenomenal. I didn't even realize how each major city had its own major spirit item or each focus for the circus team to have to resolve until near the end. I also love how the game just threw you in with no explanation. It explained as it was just going along. Literally, you were just kind of thrown in and just woke up in this world and like, oh, hey, hi, auntie. Yeah, I'll wake up and start making you pancakes. Just no explanation of the world or anything. You just woke up, you were in your aunt's house, and nom nom nom, you're just working in a restaurant in a magical world full of fairies and magic and stuff. The thing I loved most about this game was the camaraderie. In other Otome games, you see bromance among the guys, you see the guys go all out for the heroine, but not in this one. You see true friendship. You see them back each other up no matter what and support each other. Even when they didn't have to, they did. Another thing I noticed in this game, Tifilia had no heroine syndrome. She had the ability to lead circus from the very beginning to the end. She only had doubts in the beginning and they didn't last long. You saw her grow and have fun. When things got bad, she stepped up. Even when things had to get a little awkward between the characters when they didn't return her romantic feelings. The only bad thing I do have to say is that there were times I had to roll my eyes in some of these routes. I wanted to put the game down, but that was about it. Near the end and overall, it was decent. Now let's get started with the ratings. I am going to be harsher on these. The only way I'm going to give a game a 5 out of 5 is if I couldn't put it down, like with Hakoki or with Cupid Parasite. So was Radiant Tail one of them? Let's start with setting. I would give that a 5 out of 5. In this world, I would love to run around in it and find out more about it. Common route, a perfect 5 out of 5. I just love how they throw us in there with no explanation and just let us figure it out all along the way, and it wasn't confusing at all. Characters, 4 out of 5. The characters are decent, the friendship is great, but we don't really see them alone, and if we do, it's romantically with the heroine. Gameplay, 3 out of 5. The chapters were short, and that was great, but I got really bored at times, and I actually found myself asking and answering a lot. If I put the game down, would I want to pick it back up? No. Story, 4 out of 5. Definitely rich in plot. All endings were happy, if not mostly. There was a lot of lore, really great friendships, short chapters, and so much put into it, but it couldn't hold me if I put it down. Game bonuses, 3 out of 5. Not much to offer besides basic things, but probably because most of it was put into world building and storytelling. Final count, 4 out of 5 toe beans. Thank you for joining me today, my pretty little kitties. Let me know what Otome game I should play next. Also, don't forget to join the stampede by stomping over that subscribe button. Subscribe now, and if you don't...